Hey guys, this is Wave 618. It's the 30th of June 2018, just gone 11 a.m. BST. Alright, so just going to do an update on Bitcoin today. So currently got the 4-hourly chart on Bitcoin pulled up here. Alright, so just really following on from my last video, I talked about this WXY-XZ pattern playing out, and that was my primary count. I think I still will stand by that count for the time being. It is starting to validate, and I'll talk about that in detail in this video. So we'll be talking a lot more about the short-term price action in this video. So just to repeat from the last video, this was our W, this was X, and Y I believe has come to a finish, and I expect a little bit of movement to the upside to form the second X wave before we see price come down even lower and make all-time lows, not all-time lows, but a lower low since this low here. So alright, so just looking at that now, so the reason I think that this Y wave is more likely validated now to have completed is because, as we can see, price has broken out of this downward trend line. So you can see here, in fact, let's go on the hourly chart so it'll be a bit more clear. Okay, so price broke out. It was around 10 p.m. BST last night that price actually broke out, and that's a very significant time because it was the futures close at 10 p.m. So the last Friday of every month is when the futures close in Bitcoin, and it's at 10 p.m. BST, and then it will reopen on the following Sunday, so tomorrow, and that will be at 11 p.m. BST. So yeah, convincingly broke out, and there was a little bit of concern because, in fact, let's go on the 15-minute, that'll be a bit more clear. There we go. So this did look very much like a 3 waves up, to be honest. 3 waves up, which is never the best way to start, a new trend. And then it came down pretty far, really, to form a double bottom here. But you can see this pattern was in itself looking quite corrective itself. It looks like an ABC to me, with this being A, B here to this level, and then C finishing here, and you can see it's a 1-to-1 fib relationship with waves A and C. And then following the completion of that, we saw a rapid impulse. You can see this looks like an aggressive wave up. Now, you can sometimes see these aggressive waves up in the last wave of a corrective pattern. For example, in an ABC flat. This could have all been an ABC flat. This could have been A, B, and C. But that said, you would expect price to only come up to here because that would have completed the flat. So, just speaking about this hypothetically, but if that was wave A, this was B down here, and then C, if this was corrective, it would have finished here. If it was a regular flat, so you would have got the 3, 3, 5 subwave count to finish a regular flat. But in fact, price went beyond that. It looked a lot more aggressive, a lot more impulsive, and this all to me gives me the impression that the bulls are, in the short term at least, taking control of the market, and the bears are really letting things slip just for the short term. And you can see this line here where the regular flat, if it were to hold, you can see this line is now acting as support, where price has come down and hit that. We may see that this line does get broken if there's a bit of a pullback just to retest this downward trend line before price continues higher. But from what I'm seeing in the charts right now, I'm seeing that the bearish trend that has been ongoing recently has been broken, which to me suggests that the bulls are just starting to get a stronger grip on the market. As I say, this is only short term. There's certainly not enough volume in the market, not enough volatility for this to suggest a major trend to the upside to form all-time highs. So yeah, to me it looks like the bulls short term are taking control here. So a clear breakout of this downward trend line, and you can see this is looking very impulsive. So if we just do a fib extension, that looks like a wave 1, that's wave 2. We've almost come up to the 4.23 fib extension. Seems to have settled around the 3.618. But that's, that's a very extended Fibonacci ratio. So all suggests, a rather aggressive bullish move right there. Yeah, the other thing to look at, if we just go back on the 4-hourly, with any short-term turn-in trend, you do expect a little bit of momentum divergence. So my favorite momentum indicator is the RSI. We just come out of that and pop the RSI on there. So you can see really nicely here, from here until here, price and momentum were directly correlated, yeah? And then all of a sudden you can see price, even just visually looking at the chart, you can see it starting to curve out. And that is reflected in the RSI. You can see that now RSI is climbing, forming higher lows, whilst price is still forming lower lows, but you can see it's curving out. You don't actually always need a momentum indicator to see it. And these indicators are really designed for algorithmic trading. The human eye can see that momentum is being lost here. You can see a curve in the chart. These momentum indicators are more for algorithmic traders who don't look at the charts and just use a computer to plot their trades. So yeah, as I say, you've got your divergence here with RSI higher lows and the price showing lower lows, but you can see it's curving out. So again, that supports a change in trend. I discussed in my last video why this Y wave looks like it's finished, in terms of it looking like a WXY down. That's W, X came up to here and Y came to the 0.786. So it looked like it had finished, and it's starting to see these quite aggressive moves up. It's formed a nice, what looks like a double bottom here. But as I say, it was a little bit concerning that this was only this was a 3 waves up. But just remember, we're looking at a short-term bullish move here. So it doesn't matter, it can move in these 3-legged patterns. Just remember, you can have these WXY, XZ patterns, which are all basically 3 waves up, 3 waves down, 3 waves up, 3 waves down, but still moving in one direction. So it's still moving to the upside. So 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, and that can form a WXYXZ. So price can progress upwards in a 3-wave-ish pattern. Alternatively, it could be a leading diagonal that starts with 3 waves up, 3 waves down, 3 waves up, 3 waves down, 3 waves up. Then you may get a correction, and then another wave up. So you can get these. You don't always have to see. What I'm saying is, you don't always have to see 5 waves initiating a new trend. However, if you do see 5 waves, it's a lot more impulsive, a lot more aggressive than a 3-wave-ish move. So what this is really telling me is price is changing trend, but it's not aggressive. It's going to be short term, and you can see that because it's only gone up in 3 waves. Yeah, and as I say, my second X, which I was saying was going to finish at, let's just get rid of the RSI now. So the second X was going to be probably around a 50% retracement of the Y wave, which is here. Again, I'll pop my price tag like I did in my last video at that 50% level. So around 8,700. It's just an estimate. It could come to any of these fib levels, but this is where it came to in 2014. If you check out my last video, I discussed that further then, where we looked at how there was a WXYXZ pattern playing out in 2014 also. And right now, this is where the Y wave finished in 2014 after making this sort of a pattern. And so I'm looking for price to come up to around 8,700. But as I say, the sentiment is certainly bearish, so wouldn't be surprised if it fell short of this mark. And in terms of time, it's difficult to say. I was looking at this point where we could start to see price forming its lowest points. However, we may have to just let's go on the daily just to look at this. Just because it's all getting a little bit squashed, we may find Z actually forming here. Could find X forming at this time here. So just to make it clear, these lines here, these vertical lines, this is fib time, and it's plotted from the start of the impulse, which was around here on 12th of January 2015. So that was the start of the move, this was the end of the move, and then these are fib extensions where we often see a turn in price. So this is the 0.236, which I said was around 25th of August. But we may see the lowest points around towards the end of January 2019. That's a possibility. Getting slightly close to Brexit around that time as well. And often we see these other fib extensions, the 0.226, as being key turning points prior to the main turning point. So we might find the X wave forming around this 25th of August point. So that's a possibility as well. And another thing I wanted to discuss with you, which I thought was very significant, is just regarding the futures as we've discussed. So this chart, if we go on the 4-hourly, what it shows you, I've drawn each rectangle here represents 1 week of futures contracts. So it runs through from Sunday through till the following Friday, and the green labels, the green price labels, are the opening price for the week of that futures that the futures are open, and the red label is the closing price, and these blue rectangles are the end of the futures contract for that month. Yeah, so it's just a little experiment I was doing just to see if there's any pattern in price. And it's quite interesting in this last week where, as I say, the futures contract closed at 10 p.m. Last night, and following that there was an aggressive move up. In fact, let's go on the hourly chart, make that a bit more clear. So this was the candle at 10 p.m. I think at 10 p.m. we were here. So this is where the futures contract closed. And you can see a massive move up. And what's significant about this is straight away it moved above where it closed, where it opened at the start of the week. So it's just showing that sentiment is, really quite bullish at this point. So yeah, I thought it was quite interesting just to look at. It certainly creates a lot of volatility, these closing times in the futures market. So it certainly points to look out for. We often see a change in direction, a change in trend at these levels. So certainly something to take into consideration. But yeah, as I say, that's what I'm looking at right now. So yeah, just looking at the short-term 15-minute chart, it's looking like it's done a 1, 2, 3 waves up, and it's doing a shallow wave fall at the moment. May come back a bit further before going higher, so it properly retests this trend line. But we'll have to see if this trend line holds and acts as support, which I do expect it to. I expect price to keep on going higher from here to probably a maximum of 8,700, but I wouldn't be surprised if it fell short of that level. But yeah, short term, bulls are just taking a little bit more of control of the market, it looks like to me. We'll see how this line holds. Obviously, if it breaks, then that suggests that the bears are still taking control. But it's always worth trying to assess. There's two main players in the market, and that's reversal traders who look for these change in trend, and then your trend traders who look for a continuation of the trend. Right now, this continuation of the trend, people who are trading that, they're looking weak because they've let things slip at this level. They let price go beyond this trend line, which suggests that the reversal traders, the bullish reversal traders, are taking control of this market, short term at least. Yeah, so I'll leave it there for now, guys. We'll see how things play out, and just want to say a big thank you to everyone for showing your support. Finally reached 2,000 subs, so that's a significant level. Really want to show my appreciation for that. And yeah, hopefully you'll continue to show the support. Alright, take care, guys.